What was that for? You started sounding pretty robotic there. You sounded like Cher in the 90s.
Do you believe in life after love? I'll see myself out now.
All right, let's try that sound again.
Do you believe in life after love?
You're all such horrible dicks. You really are. Let's do a quick recap of what happened last week to make sure that or 2 weeks ago now, to make sure that we're all on the same page. So, who wants to go first? I have a series of notes about what happened, but I kind of liked Matt's thing about the last one in got to recap stuff, and not just because Matt's the last one in today. But who wants to take a stab at recapping what happened last week?
I can give it a bash if you want.
Please do.
Full on my own sword. So we heard a plane come past on one day, and then aforementioned plane, we all got together and did a few things, but then plane landed the next day after doing circuits, and we met a guy. He started to sound okayish when we met him, and then when we started to ask him questions, he told us about the government setting back up, and then we'd have to help out in that government. We were part of the institution, whether we liked it or not. We explained that we weren't part of that institution if we didn't want to be, given that we were in Canadian waters. He said, and we escorted him to my wine place, where we kind of locked him out of what we were doing, and then we went and checked his radio, and it was full of balloon. He had not been in touch with the people that he said he'd been in touch with. He doesn't have enough fuel to get away, but he is demanding fuel from us, and I believe he escaped even though we were watching the place overnight. So we are up in the morning after making breakfast, calling him, and he was a dick and he ran away.
You know, I kind of feel like giving you a standing ovation for that. That was an incredible summary there. So, but I am actually giving you a standing ovation. You just can't see it. But that was really a great summary. So, to Matt's point, does anyone remember any details that Matt left out, or is there anything anyone would want to add into that?
Someone was walking a dog. Forgot that. There you go.
Noodles.
Noodles, the best pooch ever.
I think it's fair to say someone has a dog. I'm not sure he's walking the dog so much as he has the dog.
The dog walks me.
Yeah. Noodles is in charge. Let's not downplay this too much.
Darn right.
So, are we picking up right where the guy, we discovered him missing?
Yeah, so it's the next morning. It's 8 a.m., right? So kind of to the point you guys made, and again, that was a really great summary, Matt. So Captain Matthews, one day you heard a plane circling overhead, and it flew off. The next day, it circled overhead again and came into land. As Matt said, you guys... Oh, let me share my screen through Video Ninja. All right, hopefully you should now be able to see my... Can you see the map of the island?
Yep.
All right, beautiful. So... So again, beautiful summary there. But you guys came down, you all got to the airport as he was coming into land. As Matt said, you guys took him with you to, and again, unfortunately named Martha's Vineyard, where she had a little testing area. So she invited him in, and you guys kind of like had a conversation with him. Left him here, and you were going to come back and get him at 8 a.m. the next morning. So while that happened, Cyrus and Pete, and Cyrus is the ex-Tex millionaire NPC, and Pete, who was a policeman, did a bunch of investigation, and they did quite the number on the plane itself. They kind of took panels off and saw what they could find. What they uncovered, as Matt summarized, was that the radio wasn't working, and the fuel pipe it seems to have been manually broken, right? So manually removed, right? So it feels like this plane, and it's obviously not the high-tech plane that we see here, but it feels like this plane has been very much kind of sabotaged, self-sabotaged, however you'd want to put it. But it doesn't feel like this is legit at the moment. So 8 a.m. the next morning, and you guys relayed all this backwards and forwards, and then 8 a.m. the next morning, you go back to meet Captain Matthews. You wait very patiently. Oh, by the way, one last thing. So Martha had called around and gotten a couple of other people to try and watch him or to watch the house to make sure he didn't go anywhere. But that didn't work out too well because, again, 8 o'clock comes and goes. The smell of bacon or something was cooking in the kitchen and nothing was really coming of it. And then when you guys go and look in the door or like bang out the door or open the door, you realize Captain Matthews is missing. So that's exactly where we pick up. So Martha, Doug, and I think Jenny was there as well. Pete, I don't remember if you were going to be there at 8 a.m. with the rest of the crew. What was happening with you, Pete?
I'm not sure if I was going to be there either. I'm definitely much more interested in the plane and the forensics around that, I guess, but we scoped that out pretty well.
Yep.
All right.
Did we find that it was sabotaged? I know that he said it was broken and so he'd leaked the fuel. I didn't realize we'd figured out that it was sabotage.
So I probably said that inartfully, right? So the fuel pipe doesn't have a leak. The fuel pipe's been kind of rested out of place, right? So it's when I said sabotaged, it just doesn't. It's not a fuel leak per se. As you started looking at it, it looks like the pipe has been unplugged. Now, what Cyrus and Pete recognized last time was that perhaps this had happened before he left, right? This wasn't necessarily him, but the plane could have been sabotaged by whoever he's working with. But it feels like, again, this... Sorry, go on.
Could he have done that while flying in the air?
Unlikely.
But not impossible?
Not impossible. And it's also not impossible that he could have done it when he was getting, like he pulled a bag out when he got off the plane, right? So he didn't come out straight away, but he kind of, it is plausible from what you can see, it's plausible that he could have even done it after the plane had landed without people, without making too much of a big deal out of it.
We wouldn't have noticed that if he had done that, like it's something.
So the plane came in to land. You guys were all standing around, and he kind of walked around back of the plane and came out, came towards you guys, right? So it was like he was shutting the plane off, right? Like turning off the engine or whatever you would do. So it's quite possible he did something, but none of you really remember him doing anything out of the ordinary like that. It's just not out of the realm of possibility.
So as of right now, is it easy fix to fix that if he just wanted to take off and leave?
Oh yeah, be very easy fix. It would be for you don't really know how, Pete, but Cyrus does, right? So like Cyrus could probably get this fixed in no more than 10 minutes.
All right. I think yeah, all right. Well, maybe I show up around 9 a.m. I would be involved in some way with the day with the guy, but maybe just not at the crack of dawn.
Oh, Pete's a bit of a late sleeper. I like that about Pete.
There's got to get a rest.
Yeah, and I mean, you got to do your constitutional, your walk of the island as well. So that all makes sense as well. Okay, so Martha, Doug, Jenny, you guys are in the over at Martha's. Let me bring that map up. So you kind of like headed over that morning, and again, like you were all very patient, but he didn't get out of bed. So now you're kind of left at Martha's testing area, whatever you'd want to call it, her little vineyard area. But you guys are kind of left there, and he's not around. So let's pick up there. So it's 8 a.m. in the morning, or it's 8:20. This guy's not around. What are you guys up to? Or how are you reacting to it, Martha and Doug and Jenny?
Yeah, who was watching? I can't remember.
There was a kid watching.
Oh.
We got one of the kids to watch.
Yeah.
I'll tell Doug to stop crying over spilt milk. I'll take the pancakes off the stove and I'll say, let's head off to the airport. There's only one place he can go really on the island.
Yeah. Doug and Jenny, any disagreement there or any responses to that?
Yeah, we can hear you. Maybe Doug's the sheriff, yeah? Is Doug a sheriff or
he's
ex-cop?
Deputy fire chief, right? And at one point he was the deputy mayor as well. So no, he's not a cop.
Okay, sorry. I was just thinking we went and saw there was an open window or whatever. Maybe we just make sure that the footprints hightail it away and he's not just waiting in the barn or something here until we leave.
Yeah, so let's have you make a perception check. And also, Jenny or Doug, if you're going out with him, feel free to make one as well.
Okay.
Any CMOD?
No.
-4.
Martha knows her property.
Speed of a puma.
1 second here.
If you click on your token, and in fact, let me put you back on click on your token, and you should see perception appear above your head in that toolbar.
Oh, well, that's a lot easier. I was looking through the character sheet.
It is. Thank you for that.
Let's see. Oh. 1 second here. And here we go. Bloop.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so it's Doug's still too busy crying over spilled milk, as you said. Martha, you recognize that he kind of like headed away, and he's headed obviously, kind of in a westerly direction. But Jenny, you got to you're able to kind of like really, it's almost like they're standing out to you in a bad episode of CSI Miami or something, right? But you can see these little footprints that are leading off right now. They're definitely heading south, right? And the airport is south, but it's you can't really tell where he will have gone for sure. It just looks like heading from Martha's place, which is where I'm pinging on. Oh, hold on, let me switch maps. So where Martha is at the moment, that's pretty much where her house is. Where Cyrus is at the moment, let me just move that so you can see the airport. So you definitely feel that he was like definitely heading this way, Jenny.
All right. I guess I'll let he went this way. I'm helping.
So what are you guys up to?
I just. Oh, sorry. Good.
No, go for it.
I guess I was just trying to tell everyone where pretty sure he's heading, and if we wanted to head out that way or not.
We got a radio, didn't we?
Yeah,
we spent
walkie-talkies,
dice
yeah.
for it, I think. Yeah. So we'll call up Cyrus Mofo.
He's still at the airport, by the way.
Yeah, we'll give him a call and tell him that he may get company soon.
So you wake Cyrus up. He's been there all night, right? So you wake him up, and he sounds a little bit groggy. But when you explain to him that this guy's gone missing, he says he'll keep his eyes open, right? He's spent the night in the control tower. Excuse me. I feel like I swallowed a fly. He spent the night in the control tower, but he says he can still see the plane. Very good, man. He can still see the guy's plane there, right? So the guy hasn't left, and it still looks like it did last night when Cyrus and Pete were looking at the plane. So everything still seems to be in order.
So we're sabotaging the plane some more if we get there, I think.
Hey, Matt, I think my headphones are dropping in and out. Would you mind saying again what you'd summarized? I think it just came in at the last second of whatever you were saying there. Can you say it again for me?
I think John is flaking in and out of the conversation. So John was describing how we should paralyze the plane a little bit more if it's only a case of he reconnects a pipe and he's back and going. But I think we put under lock and key the fuel, so I don't think he can do that anyway.
So Jenny spotted his footprints. It looks like he's heading south. That could be the airport. Cyrus has looked out of the control tower. The airplane is still there. You three are heading towards it. What's the next step? What are you up to?
The only thing I would like to do is maybe stop him from getting to any radios to talk to anyone else off the island.
And to maybe let the air out of the front tire, at least, of the plane. That way we can be sure it's not going to take off without causing permanent damage.
Yeah, I mean, you could totally do that. Is that you could, I mean, a number of different ways that you could sabotage the plane. If Doug's there, I'd suggest having Doug make a mechanics check and have a group check. Cyrus would be in on it as well, but I think that's probably the best way for you to figure out the right way to disable this.
What do you think, Cyrus?
We definitely disabled the radio in his plane, didn't we?
Yeah.
I remember doing that. We should make sure that the tower's locked up so you can't get into there too, because that'll have a radio in it.
Do we have any kind of regular meetings or anything, get-togethers that we would do that we should be at to let everybody know about what's going on?
No, you often meet at the Fox and I forget the name of the Fox and Hound, the place that you were having the party the other night. But you often meet there, right? Like that's open most evenings. But during the day, everyone's just going around their daily routines, right? Some people farm, some people fish, some people are flower arranging, whatever takes their fancy, right? There's just like a variety of activities that goes on.
Right, okay. Well, I guess if the plane's locked up and everything, I guess it's time to kind of either just go around in pairs or just scout out or go back to what we were doing. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, let's have you make a group check to disable the plane. And Doug, you'd lead that with a mechanics check.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I put it in the chat.
Oh, you did. Are you going to hit roll?
Oh, was it just me and Cyrus?
Who else is going to be in on it? Is there anyone else that, I guess, Pete, yeah.
Me and Cyrus got this.
Oh, yeah, you have. Yeah, so there's a number of different ways, right? Cyrus figures the quickest way is just to pull like the equivalent of the spark plugs out, right? It's the electrics on the plane just aren't going to work properly anymore.
Okay. Something quick and totally inconvenient.
Yeah. But it would also be a pretty quick fix if you wanted to get it back into place, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, probably keep it short and simple just for now.
All right, so the plane's done. So what are you guys up to?
I think we should make sure everybody on the island knows this guy is out and could be dangerous, and so nobody should be alone.
Yeah.
So maybe I should
Make
maybe
sure.
go around and warning people that aren't aware yet.
Let me pull up the map of the island.
Yeah, just not by yourself.
Buddy,
Someone buddy up with me. I need a buddy. Me, Noodles, and one more.
Doodles.
I guess I'll go with you.
All right. Me, Noodles, and the vet.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I gotta stay close to my patient.
Noodles may be the only one that you feel you have a true kinship with on the island at this point, Jenny.
Exactly.
All right, so the map of the island's up, right? So there are people kind of scattered all around the island. So Cyrus is going to stay at the airport. What are the rest of you doing?
I'd probably go back to the workshop to pick up my glasses and lock up all the tools.
You forgot your glasses?
Well, yeah, I failed like 3 perception checks already.
Oh.
I'll go with him to. Otherwise, he'll be on his own as well.
Yeah.
The hilarious part about it is they're actually on his head the whole time. We'll just have to see if he ever notices
They
them.
probably are.
Can we do a perception check to see that?
You just know Doug well enough to but again, the comedy value is so great. He gets so angry about it and just stomps around looking for them the whole time. All right, so Doug is heading back to his workshop, which is up here by the Dog and Goat. Jenny, Martha,
Yeah,
Pete, what are the rest of you up to?
Martha will go with.
Yeah.
Everybody should be buddied.
We got the buddy system going on. Who's buddying with Cyrus?
He's probably locked himself in the tower, which would be okay.
Yeah. That's Cyrus's
But we'll take the
choice.
spark plugs.
Say that again, Matt.
Don't keep the spark plugs.
Oh, yeah. When are you going to take him, or is Cyrus going to be left with them?
One of us should take him.
No, Doug, I reckon.
Yeah, that's fine. Wear him like a necklace and see if he notices.
You wear them like a necklace, and then you spot the lanyard around your neck, and then realize your glasses are around your neck.
Probably, yeah.
All right, which way are you guys heading? Like, I know Martha is going up there, but Jenny and Pete, which direction are you guys heading, or what are you up to?
Is there a way we can like circle the island to make sure we hit everybody?
Yeah, I mean, a couple of different ways, right? I mean, you could get a bike and you could cycle around like the outskirts, right, and kind of like zigzag. I mean, you've got a pretty good, after 2 years of being on the island, you have a pretty good idea of which houses are inhabited and where people are. So it really wouldn't be a problem it would take you, maybe half a day to get to everyone, but by lunchtime or a little bit after, particularly if I don't know if Jenny's going with you, but you'd absolutely be able to. Yeah, so you'd absolutely be able to let everyone know by then.
All right, and that way we can kind of keep an eye out too, just looking around.
Yeah, beautiful. So again, like, I mean, it's really up to you, right? Kind of give me a direction. I mean, the kind of the red dot around the outline of the island is a road you can take. So Doug and Martha are heading northeast back to Doug's place up here to get his glasses. Which way are you guys going? Northeast, south, or west? What are you up to?
I think south.
So can you ping on the map for me and show me kind of the route you're taking? Is it just straight down this main road?
I think that sounds good. Is this the main population?
Pretty much. And again, like, you'd be able to let me, as I'm sharing a screen, hold on just 1 second, and let me bring up the map. If you guys, oh wait, I'm still sharing my screen. Hold on 1 second. Let me share it again. All right, you should be able to see the map of Ontario in Video Ninja. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
All right, beautiful. So you're up here at the airport at the moment. So as you can see, a lot of this is farmland, right? So the people really tend to be congregated over here. There are some houses, right? As you kind of get into areas like this, you'll find some houses there. So, if you guys are looking for a route, right? I mean, you could head over here, head south, like hit all the houses down here. Kind of swing around, like skirt the outskirts of the Fish Point Prince, whatever that is, the Provincial Nature Reserve, and kind of come back up here, right? There's more houses along here, so you can make a pretty good route of it all around the island.
Yeah, that sounds like the plan.
All right, beautiful. So let's have you. This is going to take you most of your morning, right? So we'll come back and see what Doug and Martha are doing in a second. But why don't you and Jenny both make a perception check?
Come on, Eagle Eye Pete.
So as you're heading down, as you're kind of like cutting over, right, to get like, you go down this side, and as you're coming back up through here, this way to get, can you see my cursor on the screen, by the way, moving?
Yep.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So as you're kind of like heading through here,
So we've been at it for a while at this point, then, huh?
Yeah, this is
what is like the mood of people as we go around warning them? Like, how are they feeling about it? Are they okay about it? Are they like shrugging their shoulders, or are they like pretty upset about it?
Yeah, as you start to tell people, there's a sense of unease, right? I mean, pretty much all anyone's talked to each other about since the plane appeared has been the plane, right? And so the guy landed, you shuffled off to Martha's house, or a bunch of you did, and the rest of the island hasn't seen him, right? So there's a sense of almost like, number one, you might be talking about Father Christmas because no one's actually seen this person up close or really spoken to him since he landed. Number two, it's really causing people to be very anxious for the most part because this is the first stranger you've seen from the outside. But there are a couple of people that seem kind of excited about the idea, right? And there's a few people, as you're telling them, hey, he's gone missing, they're asking you, hey, well, what tell us about him? Like, what kind of a guy was he? Like, what was he talking to you about? So they're asking you a bunch of questions. I guess it's up to you to decide, you and Jenny, like what you'd relay to people when they ask you questions about him.
I guess we keep it pretty short and simple. Say keep an eye out and be alert. Don't trust him.
And kind of, tell what he's wearing or what he looks like, I guess.
So everyone that you interact with is perfectly willing. I mean, everyone's willing to do their part, right? A few people ask you, hey, do you need us to come with you? And a few people offer, like one of the people that you meet with, actually very close to where Pete lives. Pete's house is somewhere over here. So very close to this region. One of Pete's neighbors even offers to kind of head over to the other side of the island. He was going over this way anyway. So he's like, hey, so I'll tell everyone I meet. So you guys don't have to worry about kind of the northeast of the area. You just have to worry about the south. He'll take care of that part for you. So everyone's willing to help. And again, it's kind of a mixture of curiosity, excitement, and in some cases, dread.
Double up.
All right. So as you head down through the Fish Point Provincial Nature Reserve, excuse me, it does feel you'd be Pete again. You're a cop, right? So whether or not you don't know who it is, but as you're heading through the path, it kind of strikes you that this this has been used recently, right? That there's some overgrown bushes that been broken their way through. Kind of as this is a very kind of nature-esque area, right? But again, as a cop, you kind of your senses are up a little bit. So let's have you and Jenny both make another perception check. Actually, just you. Jenny failed her first one, so it'd just be you.
Okay.
Sorry, Jenny.
You mean just Jenny make it or just me?
No, just you.
Oh.
Yeah, so you kind of look around, but it's you get a sense of it was probably just you, right? I mean, you're kind of driving through, you think you might be kind of jumping at shadows a little bit. So you kind of head on your way. You don't really see anything in the Fish Point Provincial Nature Reserve that really kind of gets your curiosity up. It's just, again, as you go through this path, it's a little bit remarkable to you that the path seems to have been so recently used. Other than that, nothing else. You're still heading on your way. Over to Martha and Doug. So you guys were heading up to Doug's. And you guys were going together, right? This was buddy system. You were giving each other piggybacks, correct?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's
wheelbarrow. I'm holding him by the legs.
Oh, mate, that's good exercise for Doug. It really is. He needs that kind of upper body working. So I appreciate you doing that for him. So, all right, so let's have you two make a perception check as well. And by the way, are you doing the same thing? Are you stopping and telling everybody that you meet along the way that there's someone potentially loose on the island?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see
Okay.
why not.
Okay. So let's have you both make a perception check.
Yeah, shit.
Yeah. nothing out of the ordinary, right? So, you meet a bunch of people, like, just feels like everyday life on the island, right? So you kind of head up and you get up to Doug's up here, and you find his glasses inside of the workshop. So what's your next step?
I'm just getting all that locked up because not knowing where he is, he could wander anywhere and find anything he wants. So I'm locking up my house nice and tight. If I have a weapon
Yeah.
that goes bang bang, I'm probably gonna grab that and carry it around now.
Yeah, no problem at all. So let me slip you something.
Probably a handgun if I have it, because I can put it in with my tools in my belt.
Did you say a handgun?
Concealment. Yeah, because if I have one, then I can conceal it amongst my tools.
Doug doesn't have it on his character sheet, so let's have you spend an insight dice. And I'm
good with that.
I will give you a weapon. What kind of weapon do you want, by the way? Do you want a pistol? Oh, you said like a pistol so you can mix in with your tools, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, it's not letting me dock one, so I guess you're gonna help. Maybe I'm just not hovering over it.
Take care of that. All right, you should have one less now.
Yeah, I saw it.
All right, perfect. All right, so Doug, you now have a light weapon in your toolkit. What are you and Martha up to?
This was just my major concern. I'm happy to go around and talk to other people and stay on the lookout unless she's got a better idea.
Nah, I'm fine. I'm gluing his glasses to his ears.
So let's assume that just a little bit of creative license here. So one of Pete's neighbors was going to handle the the northeast. So Martha and Doug, you kind of like take some of these streets and you check out some of the places where I'm pinging at the moment, kind of along here. And then you guys meet up with Pete and Jenny just as they kind of come up the coast, right? Your trip over there to get Doug's glasses, you're kind of wandering around. They've done pretty much the southern part of the island, so you almost coincidentally meet up with each other here, right? It's kind of mid-afternoon, right? None of you have really seen anything of any note, and you feel you've done a circle of the island, and it's probably 2:30, 3 o'clock by now. What are you guys going to do?
What's our water like? Does it come from a central source? Do we purify it in a certain place?
You purify in a certain place. Yeah, you purify in certain places, right? So there's a water purification plant, but there's no power to it anymore, right? So there's a lot of water boiling that goes on. There's a lot of rainwater catching, and you get a lot of rain here, but you're surrounded by seawater. So it's mostly from either, from some kind of like purification process or rainwater.
Do you guys want to go back to the airport and we will... well, actually, why don't the cop go see if he can do the forensics and follow the... Do we have any ranger or... Follow the guy's tracks? And the other group stay at the airport.
I mean, I've got 2 survival, so I probably... Looks like I've got some searching skills. No hunting.
All right, so let's have you make Pete. Are you okay with that? It sounds like Martha is asking if you can take a look at the tracks because you hadn't seen them.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, that's true. I did fail that, so I might be better served at the airport.
Wait, what did you just fail?
Well, I was saying that I failed the noticing the tracks and stuff earlier, so I might be better served at the airport.
3 for survival, so...
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, Pete.
I only have.
What do you have for survival, Pete?
My survival?
Yeah.
Look here. None.
So I think
Might be me then.
I think it is, right? And I think that this would be a group check because I think Pete's like cop skills would still play into this, even if he wasn't like have the highest score. So I think it's a group check between Doug, Martha, and Jenny can take part as well, of course. But Pete, Martha, and Doug at the very minimum.
Group checks on.
Yep.
Who are we missing?
Let me see here.
The cop.
All right, got her.
The cop.
Pete, get the group check.
It's clicked.
Try. Wait a second.
Is it meant to update on the screen, Matt?
That won't until you press the button again. Survival.
Oh, I have to push it?
Yeah, you may as well. Someone has to. There you go. And now
Oh, yeah,
do the
Okay,
group
there
roll.
we go.
Cop to do the group roll.
Oh, beautiful.
Ooh.
So as you're all kind of like standing around and talking about it, right? You realize that the tracks you kind of head them you head south of them, right? And you kind of follow them along, and you realize as you get to the airport, the tracks head further south, right? So they if your abilities, your deductive reasoning abilities are be believed, the tracks you saw outside of the window lead past the police station, past the airport, and head way south. Right now, you kind of lose, like they fade out. Right, so let's have you all make another group check as you get to this crossroads here.
Starting to think the airplane was a red herring.
You'll need to click on the group check again because it turns it off automatically.
I do like that.
Cool.
Though not exactly expecting to make multiple group checks in a row.
Go on, copper, roll it.
Oh, look at that, another wild success.
Wow,
Whoa.
success.
Hey, this is the beauty of group checks, right? This is why you do them when you possibly can, because many hands make light work. So, excuse me, you get down, like you can see it's further south, right? So, like you for a while you thought you were losing sight of the footprints, but the longer it goes on, the more you realize it is leading you down to the Fish Point Provincial Nature Reserve, right? So, let's have you
Something
make
fishy about Fish Point.
Oh dear! Oh, the puns never cease. All right, so let's have you
Stop on about it.
say that again.
I just said stop carping on about it. Sorry.
Oh, awesome! Oh, Matt. All right, so let's have you make one last perception check. One last group survival check, I should say.
Hope it isn't a red herring. Oh my god, this is going to go forever. Jenny's in there rather than
Oops.
Pete.
Oh, sorry. Let me uncheck that. Sorry.
All right, I'm checked.
Survival again. There we go. Whoa, it's just getting
The
better.
numbers just get higher.
It's a thing of beauty seeing those numbers come up like that.
Detective.
All right, so as you guys are heading in here, right? It's almost like they're leading you. I mean, the tracks are kind of like going across the pathway, right? But they're super easy for you guys to kind of level it this way. Oh gosh, bless you. So as you're heading in, right? So you see the guy coming towards you, right? So he's as you're kind of coming down this pathway, He's heading up towards you, and he seems genuinely surprised, perched on the road. Not quite, Matt. Like he's heading north, right? So he's not perched on the road, but he is kind of walking towards you, and he sees you, and he puts his hand up, and he kind of waves at you as you're kind of as you're all approaching each other.
Oh, we're walking right up to him.
Is he armed? Is he?
No, and
smiling?
he seems smiling and friendly enough to you, right? So he's not being aggressive. He's not trying to hide from you. It's almost like he's got his jacket over his shoulder on his finger while he walks towards you, like waving. So he's not trying to hide anything, and he doesn't seem to be overtly suspicious or acting weirdly.
If no one else makes a comment before me, I'm gonna kind of gruffly say, if you wanted a tour of the island, you could have just asked. We have a tour guide that we could have sent around with you.
He gives you a brief smile, right? And he's not being deliberately unpleasant, but he says, you guys didn't really give me the impression that you were going to give me a tour of your precious little island yesterday after we discussed kind of, why I'm here and what's going on. He says, and he says this with a little bit of a smile. He says, like, I'd have been kind of worried that one of you might have tried to push me into the water, to be honest with you. I just wanted to see the island for myself. It's been non-stop work for the last couple of weeks. I told you I'm just flying around trying to find survivors. This is the most peaceful, most tranquil place that I've seen in months, right? So he plays it off as just... that he wanted to see the island, that he's just been wandering around, right? And he's very muddy, right? I mean, that's something that you'll notice as you kind of see him. And to be expected if you're wandering through, this kind of, this provincial nature reserve, it's not swampland, but it's very watery and muddy, right? So, like his boots, his clothes, or his trousers, like he seems very, very, very muddy. But it's just, he says he's been wandering around. He just wanted to see more of the island. He didn't expect that you'd give him a fair tour. So he says that he came south. He was going to go to the plain, and then he decided, I'm just going to take a walk, and he kind of headed south. So he's just been wandering around for most of the day.
If he's covered in mud, is there anything we can think of that he would have he would have intentionally gone through like a path that would have been like that? Or because I'm tempted to say, well, I don't think you have to worry about getting pushed in. It looks like you fell in on your own.
Yeah, he says you're not wrong. He said that he's done pretty much a full lap of the island at this point, and he said that when he was up north, and it doesn't. His story sounds pretty plausible, right? Given how isolated the island is, like how few people are really on it. He says that he didn't, he saw some of the natives, he saw some of the other residents. He obviously didn't see any of you guys, but he said no one seemed to pay him any mind, right? He said he was just wandering around. But when he said he was trying to climb up to see the lighthouse, which, by the way, the lighthouse is closed, right? And it's been closed since before the pandemic. I mean, it's been closed for like a decade or something. He said he wanted to get in there and just see what was going on in the lighthouse and see how far he could see. And he slipped, so he kind of fell down the side, which is where his pants and his trousers got all muddy.
Do we believe that?
Which part?
Well, all of it. Especially the muddy trousers. But
so let's have you make, and this would be individual. This wouldn't be a group check, but let's have you make a general knowledge check. All right, actually, I think this is still a version on your character sheet, so I think you still have local knowledge. I don't know that I gave any of you points in it, so feel free to make a general knowledge check.
Oh.
I'm too busy.
Doug, what is wrong with you, Doug? You're just so
You gotta go
angry
back
and
home and get your glasses.
self-involved, man. All right, so Jenny does believe it, right? So it's kind of like rocky terrain up there. Now, so you both Jenny and Martha believe it, but one thing that kind of strikes you as a little bit odd, he says that he walks south, right? If you can see where I'm pinging, he says that he kind of came out of Martha's house and just started heading south. But he also says he got muddy up here, right? So you all know that it is possible that he was both up here and down where you guys met him at the moment, but it would be kind of a rush, right? So, Martha, that's like sticks in your throat the way he says it, right? There's just something about that just it seems off to you. It's plausible, but at the same time, it's a bit of a stretch that he was kind of like a complete opposite ends of the island in that time frame,
Is there anything within seeable distance to the south?
Say that again. Is there anything within seeable distance to the south?
Yeah.
No, if you look at the screen, right? So there's a few more islands, but it's really you kind of up north is Canada, and then down south is America, right? So you can see this kind of land, and you can see the other islands with binoculars, but you can't really see much, right? And there's not really much to be seen.
Is the mud on him dry or wet?
It's wet. It's still relatively fresh.
Whilst the other guys are talking to him, can I go past, follow his tracks, and see if he's gone somewhere and dumped something, or and hidden something?
So you're just while Doug is being all angry and Pete is Pete's with you as well, right? Jenny, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess like you guys fill in the blanks. Like, how are you going to distract him, or what are you going to talk to him about, or what's going on while Martha's trying to sneak away?
It's our island. Do we need an excuse?
I don't need to sneak. I just got to walk by.
Yeah.
As they're talking.
Fair comment. So he's watching you as you wander off, Martha. Like, because it's kind of weird. You've appeared to be the leader, and then suddenly you're just like you've gone kind of walkabouts, right? So you're just like heading away. So he's watching the back of you as you kind of keep moving, but he's talking to the others. So what are you guys talking to him about?
You said he's holding his jacket?
Yeah, like it was very casual, right? He just had it kind of like clipped over his shoulder. You know what I mean? Like it was like don't read too much in it. It was just much more. He was kind of like very casual, kind of walking along with his jacket over his shoulder.
Well, what I was thinking was like last time when he pulled his pistol out on the runway. How did he do it? Did he reach into his waistband? Did he reach into like his jacket pocket?
No, he has a holster. He has a proper holster with a revolver in it, right? So and he's still got that on right now. So the gun's visible.
Just making sure it wasn't like thing.
Did he leave any of his equipment back at the room, or did he split with everything like he was not planning to return?
He didn't have a lot with him, right? So he's pretty much got everything with him. He took everything with him. There was nothing really left in the room of note.
I guess I'll continue on and keep talking about making jokes about the tour and see if he wants to go get some lunch, get cleaned up, and look at anything else on the island, since I'm ignorant of what's going on and just assuming he really wants an island tour.
Yeah, so he says that he's seen enough of the island for one day, but he said that it'll take you up on lunch. He said that he had no way to, kind of makes a joke that he didn't have any way to make himself like a packed lunch. So he kind of wandered the island. So he hasn't eaten all day. So he'd really appreciate that. And if there's somewhere, he doesn't know if you guys have any running hot water, he said, but like obviously he's really dirty. So if there's anywhere he can clean up, he'd really appreciate it.
Nothing about him like sticks out to me like as like a cop instinct, like no scratches on his hands or face or.
Let's have you make a perception check.
I'll let him know that his breakfast is still on the table from this morning when he jumped out the window.
He kind of smiles at Doug and says, "Oh, I'll eat that, and I'm really sorry, but I just wanted to see the place. And again, like I didn't really get the warm and fuzzies from you guys last night. I thought I'd just take off on my own this morning." So, Pete, you do notice his shirt sleeves are rolled up and his hands look a little bit red, right? And kind of like, all of him is muddy, right? But his hands do look, not scratches necessarily, but his hands are very, very muddy and very red. Like he's either he fell down and hurt them, or he's been working, or he's been doing something, right? But you do notice there's like his hands are, again, muddy and not scratched, but just like flushed.
Well, I'll ask him about it. What's going on with the hands there?
He looks down and he says, "Yeah, like I fell over a bunch of times. Like what do you mean?" So like he's just kind of he's just looking at the mud, and he's not sure why the mud is catching your attention.
A bunch of times, huh?
Yeah. Yeah,
He, a klutz, are you?
Yeah, well, he said when you don't really know the island or you don't really know this landscape, and you want to get close enough and see the color of the fish and take a look at the kind of the nature, the flora and fauna. He says that sometimes that comes with, and he's saying all this good natured, but he said sometimes that you take a spill while you're getting that close to nature.
Yeah, sometimes you do take a spill close to nature.
Hey Martha, let's have you make a perception check as you're wandering through the provincial fish reserve.
I'm re-rolling that.
Wait, did you just? Oh, you got it. Yeah. So as you're kind of looking around, you do see there's a shovel, right? So it's a little bit off one of the paths as you're kind of wandering around. Like you kind of look through, and it's like on the TV show Survivor when they're looking for idols, right? You can see it. It's under some bushes, but it's just there is a shovel that's there.
Okay. I'll look around for whatever's been dug freshly. Is the handle got mud on it?
Yeah.
So, yeah, okay. So he's just used it and he's dumped it.
That's how it would appear. Yeah.
Yeah. Can I follow here? I mean, if he's wet and stuff, can I just follow where he's come from?
Yeah, like it's too nature pathy for you to be able to really find that. So let's have you make a perception check.
In fact, I'm just going to call the other guys and say, hey, guys, Ben Shovel here. And I'll get there. We can do a sweep of the whole place. Or you can just tell us.
Are you going to do it while
he's doing?
While he's here?
Yeah, fuck it. Yeah.
Yeah, I get a big smile on my face. I reach into my coat pocket and I bring out the caution tape.
You mean the yellow police caution tape? Is that?
Yeah.
This is now an active crime
scene investigation tape.
Man.
Yeah, so you might as well tell us what it is that you just buried or did with the shovel. Otherwise, we'll just find it anyway.
Yeah, he doesn't know what you're talking about, right? So as you're kind of like saying this to him, like, I mean, you can see the look of confusion on his face, right? And he's like, "Wait, you think that's mine?"
There's a bit of shit in the woods.
Well, that much I don't know.
I thought that was common knowledge.
Depends on the color of the bear.
Yeah, so he's just trying to like plead ignorance. He's like, yeah, he says like, so you found a shovel, and you think that's my shovel?
It's wet. It's got mud on it. It's in the direction that you came from.
He kind of looks around and he points this like this whole area is wet and muddy, right? And that's very true, right? It was, I any shovel that you found.
I just want to break his face.
You want to break his face? That guy's a
Yeah.
gun, mate. Like, if like, what? I love the fact this is the first representative of the government or civilization, and your first instinct is to kill him. I like that about the future of humanity.
Well, no, because we got the feeling he was lying before he told us porky pies, so we don't have any faith in the fact that it's government at all.
So
I'll ask the guys to separate out, and we'll scour the nature reserve, the direction that he came from.
He doesn't seem particularly thrilled with what you're saying, but he also doesn't feel.
Shame.
Say that again, Matt.
Ooh, shame. He keeps saying it's our island, and he keeps fucking around on it. So
yeah. So as you guys are doing this, as you're kind of like fucking around with the shovel and like looking around, he says, "Yeah, I think I've had enough of you guys," and just like starts walking back towards the airport.
All right, I'll radio Cyrus. Big Eagle calling Little Dove.
Cyrus is like 6'4", so he kind of likes the idea of Little Dove, but
Be on the lookout for Crazy Charlie. Crazy Charlie headed your way. Over.
so in his best Morgan Freeman, he says to you, "So what am I supposed to do if I catch the little puppy?"
Enjoy the show as he tries to start his plane. Ha ha ha. And then I'll just laugh.
So Cyrus thinks you're fucking nuts after that little display. But he says again, like, hey, Pete, like, jokes aside, like, what am I supposed to do if he turns up here? Like, he's military, he's got a gun. Like, what? Like, okay, we've disabled his plane. What do you want me to do? I'm just gonna hide. Like, if he turns up here, I'm just gonna like hide and let you know. He has, again, no interest in really getting involved.
does he still have a gun?
Say that again.
Does he still have a gun?
I don't think Cyrus ever had a gun.
I don't know. I mean, the guy that's wandering around.
Oh yeah, he's still got his pistol on his holster.
Can I say, I think I need to be taking that from you right now.
He's already walked off.
Yeah, so I mean, you can stop him as he's wandering away, but he has like, unless we kind of like step back a little bit, he has already wandered off.
I should follow him then. I think that's what I would do. I wouldn't let him out of my sight.
Okay, you two do that.
Like keeping a distance, though, but
Martha will ask Jenny to help scan for what he's dug into the ground. And Doug and Pete follow.
Yeah, I'm willing to walk behind. I wouldn't want to be like right behind him. I'd want to be like
Just in a shooting distance.
Yeah. Basically.
2 shots versus 1. And then we'll radio you when we find whatever it is.
Yep.
Sounds like a plan.
So tell me again. So Doug and Pete are following him back to the airport. Is that right?
Yeah. Guns drawn.
Oh wait, Pete. Doug, is your gun drawn?
Oh no, it's still on my tool belt.
Okay.
Pete seems to have something there.
Say that again, Matt.
Pete seems to have something there.
Well, let's not get personal.
I'd say he might just be pleased to see him.
Yeah.
So I mean, it makes him super nervous. By the way, that you've got noodles with you, Pete. Right? So like he keeps looking back over his shoulder. You and Doug that are following him. And it seems like, every time he looks over, his gaze lands on noodles, and that seems to make him the most uncomfortable out of everything. So are you guys interfering with him as he heads back to the airport, or are you just following it close? Like walk me through that. Fill in the gaps for me.
Yeah, just keeping distance, but just making sure he doesn't get out of eyesight.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable.
So, yeah.
And if he asks... Well, I don't know. Is he going to ask us or talk to us, or are you just going to keep walking?
That might kind of depend on you, right? Because, like, this is... he doesn't know this island like you do. So for all he knows, this is the only way for you to get back to wherever you got to go as well. It's obviously a fairly major road, right? And as you can see from the map, it's not like there's a huge amount of by roads and side roads, right? So he probably finds it a little bit weird that you're so close behind him, and he feels like you're following him, but it wouldn't necessarily have to make him feel like you're following him, or he wouldn't have to feel that way unless you wanted him to feel that way. Make sense?
No.
Well, every time
no,
he turns around to look, I just kind of like pretend like our eyes don't meet, and then I kind of glance off to the side.
Say that to me again.
I'm just walking to the airport with him.
When he glances back and our eyes like lock and meet, I'll just like quickly turn my head like I wasn't staring and like look off to the side.
Yeah, so it's like that.
And hold a magazine up and pretend you're reading.
Yeah, I'll do one of those things.
No, just stop walking when he does that, right? You'll stop walking and just look like one way to the other side and then back at him. So I get that. All right.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you can do that as you guys are heading up towards the airport, right? So again, like he obviously finds this a little bit weird and keeps looking over his shoulder, but like he's just heading back to the airport. So Martha and Jenny, are you still? Jenny, did you stay behind to help Martha, or are you with the gang?
I stayed with Martha.
Okay.
Us girls got to stick together.
I don't blame you. It's a difficult world out there. All right. So what are you doing, Martha? Were you going searching? What were you doing?
Yeah, I asked Jenny if she could help scan where it was that see what he was digging.
All right, beautiful. So let's have you two make a group check, a group perception check, or survival check, whichever you got the best skills in.
Survival.
I have 2. I've got 3 in survival.
I got 0.
What have you got? Well, I've got 3 in survival plus acumen.
Oh.
What have you got in perception?
Perception. Let's see. Oops.
No.
Trying to find where that is again.
It's
Furthest right.
2 above
2 up
survival.
from.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
There it is. 0.
Okay. So we'll go survival. So if you hit group check and then hit survival.
Okay. And survival. All right. And submit.
And then hit roll group check in the chat.
Woohoo!
So as you're wandering, as you're kind of like looking around, Martha, you see what looks to be, you're pretty much off the beaten track by this point, right? You've been following his footsteps and trying to see where he's like backtrap and kind of like, see where he's come from. So as you kind of head off the beaten path, you do see an area where you realize that there's stuff that's been dug up, right? And you can see a couple of holes in the ground. And in one of the holes, it's not quite finished, right? So like he's been digging there, and you can, you can see in the first hole that he's dug, something's been pulled out of it. In this second hole, it looks about 2/3 as deep as the first hole, but it looks like he's almost close to finishing it, but he either got startled or walked away, or it could be a latrine hole. Yeah, David D-Dog. So that's possible, but that's what you see, right? Two holes. One's fully dug, and it looks like he's had something taken out, but you can't see anything there. And the other one looks like you'd estimate it's been half dug.
So he's taken something out of one. And he dug another hole. Was that what I was saying?
Yeah, like in the other hole's about half as deep, right? So if you had to guess, it's like he didn't finish, right? Like he got interrupted, or like he's going to come back to it or whatever. But again, like it's the first thing that strikes you that there's, again, the second hole is only half as deep as the first one.
How big's the hole? What sort of object are we looking at for taking out of a hole?
It's probably like 3 foot or 1 meter across, and probably 4 to 5 or 1.5 meters lengthwise.
So it's big.
4 to 5 meters. It's a fucking football pitch.
No, feet. Feet, Matt.
No.
I said 3
Yeah, but
feet.
So that's
Three-
massive. Okay.
3
so
feet.
this is what he was doing. He couldn't have been doing anything else. It takes fucking ages to
Yeah.
make holes.
Yeah, that's a great.
Yeah. Well, it's great for a small guy. Who's smallest?
Yeah,
I mean,
at least to start at one.
Yeah, so 2.5 by 4 foot, maybe that. So not quite not quite grave size, but like Matt said, like that kind of weird deep hole.
is that the one that he pulled something out of? That we think it's something that's come out of?
That would be the most logical thing, yeah.
The only thing I can think of is that there's a buried radio or something, and it's got some sort of big antenna. But other than that, doesn't make any sense for why it would be here. Okay, can we do a? Are there any markings beside where he's dragged something out? Was it heavy, and we can follow it back to something? I don't understand why he would dig another hole to put something else in. And I'll relay to Doug quietly that we've found a hole, something's missing. It's not on his person right now, seemingly, because I'm assuming he's not waving around anything 3 foot by 4 foot, 2 foot by 4 foot.
No, you don't see anything, and he didn't seem to have anything like of that dimension when you saw him.
So I'll ask
doesn't
Jenny
necessarily
if we
mean-
can do a look around quickly.
It could be something smaller that would have been able to be inside that. I don't know.
Well, he could have not been able to find it particularly well, in which case he dug around all over the place. But are we saying it's got? Do I get the feeling that he's dug a small hole and then dug another bit next to it and another bit next to it, all around in raggedy ass directions, or is it a square? That he's digging something at.
So there are 2 holes next to each other, right? And again, like big pound of dirt or big mound of dirt next to the first one, smaller pound of dirt next to the second one, right? But they're kind of close to each other, right? So it's not like he's digging random holes in a field somewhere. It looks like he's dug them right next to each other.
Which just seems weird. If you dig a hole and then pull something out of it, why would you dig another hole to put something in it? Just use the same hole. Let's look around, see what is around here, because he didn't have anything with him. So he's either burying someone or
No, John, the holes do not neatly fit inside each other, but I very much appreciate that question.
So the first hole is the first hole that looks like something he dug first and now has soil back in it. Yeah? Is that right?
Wait, say that again.
I don't understand the hole. How do you have a hole and it's full, but he's taken something out of it?
So there's 2 holes in the ground, right? One's probably 3 foot deep, right? And maybe again like 2 foot by 3 foot, 4 foot long, something like that, right? There's a hole next to it that's only half as deep, right? And again, like the mound of dirt next to it is only half the size. So I'm not sure if I've said something to make you think that he's like digging a hole to fill another hole up, because that wouldn't appear. It looks like he's dug one hole and then he's dug half of a second hole.
Okay. And we haven't heard any shots or anything like that. Can we?
No.
I will warn the other 2 that we may have 2 half-dug graves. We're just investigating. And can we look around to see if there's anything else around close-ish?
Yeah, so let's have you make another perception check.
I mean, we're assuming whatever it is that we're looking for now isn't hidden or not buried anyway.
Yeah, actually make another survival
group-
check. No, it's not perception. Sorry, it's a survival check.
Okay. Group checking it?
Yeah.
Can you hit group check for me, please?
Okay. Check. Okay.
And
Another survival?
you group checked?
Yes.
Cool. Any CMod?
No?
No,
No.
no.
GM. Yeah. Okay. I'll do this one. Boop. 10.
Woohoo!
Yeah, so it's almost you get a sense of almost like the absence of something makes you realize there's nothing amiss, right? So as you look around and you spend the next 40 minutes or whatever wandering around, you don't see anything else that looks like it's been disturbed, right? I mean, this is a big area, right? So you could kind of spend much of the rest of the afternoon wandering around trying to find it. But on first glance, as you look around, this seems to be the only place where certainly he's dug any holes or anything along those lines.
Okay.
Mm,
Can we just dig in the half-filled hole down to the same depth as the other one?
Yeah, no,
Just
absolutely you
in the
can.
middle?
Absolutely you can. So let's have, Martha, let's have you make a physicality check. Just to see how much this takes out of you. And let's give you a -1 just because of your age. I know you're a tough old bird, but...
Doing your duty.
Yeah. Do it, man. Do it. Oh. So you dig the hole, but by the time you get there, you are sweaty, right? So, and it takes you much longer. And the biggest thing about that failure is just that it makes you realize how much you've overestimated how much you've aged during the pandemic. So you can get there, Martha, but it takes you a couple of hours, right? And Jenny, who's much younger and fitter, and frankly much prettier as well, offers to help a couple of times, but your ego and hubris won't let her do it, Martha. So you dig, and as you're digging, as you get to roughly what you think is the other height, you as you're shoveling or as you're digging the shovel into the ground, you hear what feels like or sounds like a clank, right? So you hit something, could be stones, but there's a clank as your shovel hits something pretty solid.
We'll radio back to the other guys and say we found what he was digging for.
So you guys, the other two are pretty much at the airport by now. So let me just move you on. So you're almost at the airport, and in fact, you're just getting up there, and just before you hear the call from Martha, you hear a call from Cyrus, right? And Cyrus says to you, hey, I think I see him heading towards the airport. So Cyrus comes in and lets you know that, and then Martha crackles into life. Martha, what are you saying?
We found whatever it is that he's looking for. Give me a couple of minutes, and Jenny will open it up, because I'm naked.
You are. And sweaty, Betty.
I think you're concentrating on the sweaty old woman too much.
It's how I feel when I look in the mirror almost every day, Matt. All right, so Jenny's helping Sweaty Betty, and you find a bag in there, right? So, Martha, what are you saying to Doug and to Pete as Jenny's pulling this out or uncovering this, and then how are you guys reacting to that?
I don't think I need to say anything until I know what it is.
Yeah.
I've said we found something, but don't know what it is.
So, Pete and Doug, how are you responding to Martha's news? You keeping your distance? You tackling him to the ground? What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Well, I mean, we don't know anything.
I'm still kind of
so I guess
focused
we're just-
on oh boy mostly.
Yeah. Even when we get to the airport, I mean, just kind of. I guess if we get to the airport, I mean, I'm just still kind of hanging around, and then I guess we'll finish that conversation if it happens before Martha radios in.
So you'll be getting there. So Martha and Jenny, you're kind of pulling this bag out of the ground. So it's really big and it's really heavy. And as you get it out, it becomes apparent very quickly that it's filled with weapons. It's filled with guns and ammo in like kind of army duffel bags, those kind of like, army supply bags, right? These things are not exactly waterproof, right? But they've been buried deep in the ground and the weapons are still in good condition as you pull them out because they have had the bag protecting them, right? So, and they evidently haven't been in there, long enough to cause major rusting or anything because they still look like they're in good condition. So you think it's inside the last couple of years, right? So that's what you've pulled out of the ground.
Be alert, guys. It's a cache of arms. I repeat, weapons galore in bags. I don't know whether he missed with the first hole and we just found them in the second hole that we've dug, or he could have more than just one weapon on him at the moment. Safe to say, though, he's not who he says he was. So you can test the water by telling him you found the stuff. Cyrus do it over the loudspeaker. Then you don't need to get close to him.
We have found the weapons you're looking for. We have found the weapons you're looking for. No, dickhead.
I'm not going to say anything until we get up to the airport because I want to see what he thinks he's going to do. I mean, I'll acknowledge your findings. It's just I want to see if he's actually going to try and put the plane together in GTFO or what he wants to do.
He'll go for breakfast. Watch.
Say that again, Matt.
Say he'll turn up for breakfast. Watch.
All right, so you're back at the airport. Sorry, give me a second here for the token. So, back at the airport. So, Martha and Jenny are not here. So, Cyrus kind of comes out of the control tower. He's hanging back a little bit because he's still not quite sure what's going on. But Captain Matthews walks up to his plane and he pulls open the canopy door and gets inside, and he starts what appears to you guys like he's doing pre-flight checks or whatever, or trying to get the plane ready for takeoff. He realizes immediately that you guys are fucked with the plane, right? That he doesn't know Cyrus has done it, but he realizes that because you pulled the spark plugs out, right? He's not even getting electrical signals. So he turns around, very angry, looking at Doug and Pete, and again Cyrus hanging off into the distance. But he looks at you two, very angry, and he asks you, "What have you done to my plane?"
So
Our
you're just
plane?
gonna try and take. You're the one that said you had a fuel leak, so you're just gonna prime up and just take off. What happened to your mechanical failure earlier?
Yeah, so he kind of snaps at you, Doug, right? I mean, like any veneer's gone at this point. He says, "Hey, I had a fuel leak, but right now the electrics are not working in there, and this hasn't happened by accident. These were working just fine. This isn't like I didn't leave a light on last night. What did you guys do to my plane?"
Yeah, you had a fuel leak, which means you have no fuel. So why are you doing pre-flight checks without even asking or trying to attain some fuel?
So he just loses his patience, right? So Doug, he feels that you're talking down to him, right? So he unholsters his gun, right, and he walks over to you, right, and it's not like he's kind of got the gun against the side of your head, but he grabs your shirt and he says, as he's kind of like dancing with you, he says, "This isn't fucking funny. Like, what have you done to my plane? Like, I'm looking to get off this island and get away from you crazy shitbags. Like, what have you done to my plane?"
I mean, if you want to get off this island,
can I draw my gun at this point?
You do what you want. You're your own person.
You absolutely can, right? I mean, you're standing. Are you standing where I have you positioned?
Yeah, I imagine like I'm seeing all like as soon as he gets aggressive, it's like, whoa.
Whether he reacts to the gun or not, I mean, I'm sure he's still pointed at me. I'm like, you can, if you want to get off this island, I mean, I'll tell you one thing: shooting me is not going to help your case.
He kind of, he's just, again, he's very angry, right? And he's kind of pushing you with the gun, right? And he says, or he's got the kind of like gun up against your chin or your chest or whatever, and he's pushing you. And he says, I just want to get off this island. He says, like, I don't need to make a case for anything. Like, what is that? Diggy hole. So, yeah, he's just lost all patience with this, right? So Pete, he's not looking at you, right? So are you drawing your gun and like coming up like surreptitiously on him, or what's going on there?
Well, I'm gonna draw it and kind of like do my my cop routine, like whoa, hold it, put it down on the ground.
All right, so we are going to be going into combat.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, if you're pointing a gun at him, hold on 1 second. Let's get some.
Sick of noodles.
No, not noodles.
All right, so do that. Hold on 1 second. That's the wrong guy. Just 1 second here.
This little lift thing. Oh, there he is. Not Pete. I'm not John.
All right, so John's snuggling up with Doug, kind of like pushing him, right? So he's going to use his turn. So I think because he doesn't know the Pete's trying to attack him yet, right? Right now he feels like he has control of this situation. So he's actually going to be, this might sound counterintuitive, but he's going to be trying to inspire Doug. But it's yeah, okay. So he was trying to force Doug to tell him like what's going on with this plane, right? So I actually think, let me undo that. So you're so cute, thank you. This is actually going to just be a intimidation check on Doug.
Inspiration would give Doug another action.
Yeah, it works, right? So I'd forgotten what my own actions were doing. So he's actually using his first action to just do an intimidation check, which failed, right? So he's trying to get Doug to tell him where the pieces of equipment are missing from his plane to get his plane started. But Doug, like, it's not scary to you at all, right? So he's going to defer his second action until later in the round. Excuse me. So Doug, it's over to you. What are you up to?
I'm just going to keep talking to him because he's got the gun pointed at like right pretty much against me. And I'm going to say, look, you're going nowhere fast. You have no cards to hold here, and you are in nothing but a lose-lose situation. So you have no good play here. So why don't you just put that away and start talking to us instead?
All right, let's have you make whatever check that would be, right? So if it's inspiration or intimidation or whatever skill you'd be using on him.
No, okay, it's always fun when you try to use a skill, but out of the way. Did that go through? Doesn't look like it did anything.
No, what were you trying to do?
Where'd my sheet go?
The thing's crapped out. Hold on.
No.
I just character ideas not defined. Do it again.
Okay. Sure. Bam.
There you go.
Yeah, he's not listening to you. So yes, your first action, Doug, right? So he's not listening to you. So whatever it is that you're saying to him, like he doesn't care. He just wants to get away from this island. He doesn't give a shit about you or you crazy people. He just wants to find the piece of his plane, just wants to get it fueled and get out of here, and you'll never hear from him again.
Is he saying that, or is that just the impression?
It's kind of a little bit of both, right? So he's just he's angry, right? So he's not exactly making promises, but he's basically saying like, I just want to get out of here. Like, I mean, you crazy people, like you're making this so much harder than it needs to be. So he's not saying exactly what I said, but that's what you're taking from his little kind of like ramblings. And he's still pushing you, by the way. He's been very rough with you, Doug.
No, that's fine. I'm gonna respond to that with an intimidation, and I'm gonna say, no, you haven't made it easy for us. This whole garbage started because you landed here and started flashing your country this and, civilization that. Everything was fine till you got here, and you've just continued to make this situation worse for everybody. Everything's been you.
Yeah, he's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, like you really showed him, old man, didn't you? Like the angry boomer with spit coming out of his mouth as he kind of like drools at you.
So right, I learned it from watching you.
Thanks, Dad.
That felt like the worst kind of like Hallmark movie. All right, let me do this.
I like how you've moved from charm to intimidate all in the space of 6 seconds or so.
That's Doug's
I
bite.
wouldn't have done charm. Like, in the new
I could
rules,
be the
it's
nice
now
guy. I could be the bad guy.
That's what we love about Doug's personality. He's so calm and just stable. So do I have this as GM only? Hold on 1 second. So he just made a physicality check. I think I do. So yeah, he got an 11 on a physicality check. So Doug, he just pushed you to the ground, right? So you're sitting on your butt at the end of that was his deferred action, by the way. So you've taken both of your attempts to bully him, and he is now done until the next round as well. So Pete, over to you and Cyrus.
So he's shoved Doug down, but he's still standing, or how does this look?
Yeah, like I mean, just he's standing over him, right? Like I mean, Doug's been trying to like went from trying to inspire him to trying to intimidate him, and he's just done with him. So he just pushed the old man, like Doug took a step back and then just landed on his butt on the tarmac.
I feel like Pete and Doug should have been the ones digging the hole, given their names, and we could have dealt with these guys in the middle.
Hey, well, Martha, you just wanted to show that you're as good as any man, if I remember correctly. So I think that's where that all came from.
I'm not male chauvinist. I know women are better.
So let me ask something. Could I try to do a called shot to his hand?
And shoot the gun out of his hand?
Yeah, or just his hand and blow it up?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, old man, let's see what you got.
You might want to use.
What am I looking at here?
You might want to use an insight dice.
Yeah, I'm gonna pre-insight it, I guess.
Yeah, and there's a cool shot on your toolbar along the top.
All right, called shot along the top. There we go.
Drum roll, please.
And then I guess I just click the old thingy.
Yep. So he's not looking at you, right? So he pushes Doug down to the ground, and he's still threatening him with the gun, and you're able to shoot the gun. And again, whether you're aiming for the soft, fleshy part of his hand
right
or the hard metal part
of his hand, right in the bone,
So the gun goes flying out of his hand, and it's accompanied by like a truly horrific scream as he realizes you shot him in the hand.
You heard Doug, he was trying to talk to you. Now maybe you'll listen.
Just with the gun. Just with the rules on called shot, that hasn't seemingly used the called shot thing. Did you hit ranged combat for that?
No, I hit ranged combat from in my character sheet. I didn't hit the called shot button.
Oh.
I guess I should have done that.
You've already got the called shot logo, I think.
Okay. Let's see here. Let me try that.
Because I think you need to get a wild I want to say you need to get a wild success. Is that right with the cold shot?
Oh my gosh, it's been
Can't
so
remember.
long since we've done one. Let me pull up the rules. Hold on 1 second.
Hit the cold shot again with Pete.
Oh, because you still need to actually attack him, even if you're not rolling damage.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, I've
Wait,
hit
no,
the
you
Yeah,
have
cold
there's the
shot.
cold shot. So now do shoot him with your. Oh no, you've moved again, so it turns off
Yeah.
cold shot.
So
Do the
I click cold shot, and then
and
I hit
then-
ranged combat.
No, attack with whatever gun you're shooting with.
Oh, I use the gun, not ranged combat.
Yeah, because it's shooting. Yeah.
Okay.
You shooting?
Okay, I gotta move over to the weapon side then, huh?
But you just click on your character, and there's an attack button at the top. Yeah.
So I think it's been so long since we've done one of these. I don't know.
Yeah. So that's done it. Yeah. He did well. Yeah. So he shot. It used the DMR and his skill for shooting. Were you that close?
No, there's no way he
Oh,
was that
You got a
close.
minus.
I
You
was
got a
hoping I
minus
was-
one engaged.
Right there.
That seems weirdly. I think you pressed it when you were too close because you've got -1 on there, but it doesn't matter. -1 you would have missed anyway. Insight dice that you rolled got a 2. Then your dice roll was 10, which gave you a cold shot of 12, which is a fail because you actually had to have a wild success for a cold shot. So
I actually think we need to change that. Like, so I
Yeah.
now that we've played that, I mean, it's kind of ridiculous that I put in there that it's a wild success, right? Numerically, it just seems like it's, why would anyone ever do a cool shot, right? I just think it's been so long since we've tried one of these. So I think I'll figure that out as I'm going through the next rewrite, but I'm going to take Pete's 13 above, right, as the cool shot. Because I think I mean, a score of 13 when you're trying to deliberately shoot at something feels like that should be enough to succeed. So you've shot, like, even though the cool shot like didn't work, you know, mechanically in the game, like you actually got it, Pete. Like you know, there's the ting of bullet hitting metal and then the gun kind of scattering across the tarmac and then him weeping and screaming as he looks at, you know, his kind of exploded hand beneath him. You missed his hand and hit his heart. Made him fall in love with you. I love that about you. All right, so last one in the round is Cyrus. Hey, Matt, I think I know what I'm going to do. And again, I'll put all this like pen to paper for you. But I think what makes more sense is a cool shot would be both actions in a round, but it should just be a normal success. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no. I mean, if you're shooting at something specific, you do get to say exactly what happens with the cold shot. That's why it's so hard, yeah. So you're shooting to kill. You're shooting the guy's pistol only. You're shooting the guy's hand so that you can't pick up anything else forever.
I think
blah blah blah. I don't know.
So my point is that, and I agree with you, by the way, but I think my point is that if Pete was going to do that, like, I'd presuppose that a part of the action was him taking aim so that he knew what he was specifically shooting at, right? It wasn't just him kind of like quick drawing out of a holster and then firing off and getting someone in the eye. So I think that taking both actions in a round, presuming that the first one is essentially an aim that facilitates the cool shot, it kind of feels like, anyway, neither here nor there. I put all this pen to paper, but I'm glad we play tested through this. So, Pete, again, we're going back to the range combat before where you got a 13, which is a success. So the gun is gone out of Matthew's hands. So he's, again, like just screaming because right now he's got kind of a bloody stump where you shot a bullet through it. And Cyrus is just backing away a little bit because he's not looking to get involved in any of this combat craziness. So, Doug, you're on the ground. The guy's standing over you with a bunch of blood, you know, like shooting out of his hand, but you get to go first in this round. So what are you up to, Doug?
So did the gun just drop? Is it next? Did it go flying?
Yeah, it like skittered across next to you. I mean, Pete shot him from kind of this direction. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, the gun's there, right? So your
I actually
toolbox.
used my my pool skills to make sure the gun would go flying, so a place where you could catch it using
Nice.
English.
I thought you were going to say it was like you'd use like a Captain America physics, right? So you'd shot the gun and the gun was now flying backwards into your hand. I thought that's what you meant.
Well, that would be even cooler, but hey, I'll go with Doug.
So I'm gonna use first action get up, assuming he's still well. It doesn't matter if he's standing or not. I'm gonna stand up, and then I'm gonna use as a second action. I'm gonna reach up. I'm gonna grab him by both collars of his jacket,
Catch the
and I'm not gonna pull him in super close, but I'm gonna pull him, just to show that I've got a restraint of him, and just look at him, just as calm as possible, and just look at him and just say, "Well, tell us the truth."
He says, you say what? Tell him the truth.
Now tell us the truth.
So, wait, did you say tell him the truth? Like, I didn't hear what you said. You broke up for me.
Tell us the
Because,
truth.
yeah.
Oh my God. I'm sorry, John. Like, he's broken up for the foot. Can somebody else say it? Like, every time he talks, he breaks
wants
up.
you to tell him the truth.
Okay,
He's
thank
going to
you.
grab the captain by the.
Every time you're asking me, I keep
hoonies.
thinking you're hearing me say something, and no, it's just you're not being able to hear me.
He said he grabbed him by the ankle.
And dragged him around. So no, this is a you can't handle the truth moment, right? So you presumably you shake him and say, like, tell us what's going on. So
He's grabbing him by the left testicle.
Oh, he will definitely
only
tell
the
you the
left one.
truth. Yeah. Well, you want the right one
That's
for a
because I'm
backup.
grabbing the right one.
You need additional
Cold
pressure.
shot
Like,
on the right one.
and now we start to walk away. We'll get the truth.
It's just a lift up
Did-
power
did-
bomb.
did Matt just call dibs on the right testicle? Did I hear that correctly?
No, that's Pete.
Yeah, you heard that right.
Pete's got left one, Doug's got right one, and now they're going to go home. And unless he tells them the truth,
Oh my goodness.
By the time they get
they're
home,
both
this could
walking
be
in
really
different
ugly.
directions. Yeah,
And he lives north and I live south.
yeah.
Better start talking.
They'll walk down the road until there's a fork in the road, and then he gets to make a choice. He either talks or they go their separate ways.
And we don't let go.
Yeah, that's the point.
Ever. Ever.
Drawn and quartered.
Oh my goodness.
So he gives you the truth, right? And he's very angry and like not emotionally hurt, right? But he's in a lot of pain because you shot his hand, right? So a lot of this is tinged with anger, right? So he basically is very insulting and says, like, you guys on this island are a bunch of fucking inbreds, right? He says that he was just here to try and retrieve his stuff, right? Like, everyone else that he's met, everybody else, like, gets taken in by this story, right? Everyone's willing to believe that there's somebody out there looking to come back. He says, like, he was on here because he some old partner of his had told him about burying drugs and guns on the island. And so the first time he'd been able to find a plane, he came over here and he said, like, everywhere he goes, like, he talks to people and he tells them his survival story. And everyone's so excited that he always gets a chance to like basically screw people over, right? And kind of tells them this story. They drop their guard and he's able to steal things. You guys have made it so difficult. Like, you wouldn't believe anything while you were here. So he's spraying blood at you out of his little stump, but he seems most angry the fact that you've trapped him on this island. He can't get off with his plane, and he was basically just here to try and get these guns back.
If only you told us at the beginning.
Oh, fuck you, copper.
God, Doug's trying to figure out how to process this.
Just pull.
Yeah, I guess I let go of one collar, grab a hold of his hand that's bleeding, and just give it a squeeze because
Ooh, ow. Man, that makes me cringe.
and just yelling at, starting talking very sternly, and then getting into an enraged yell about how you land in here attempting to provide a bunch of people with some hope of some sort, giving such a bullshit story as that, all for a bag of fucking drugs and guns. What the hell is wrong with you?
I mean, he looks at you a little bit. First of all, like he's screaming because you're squeezing his hand, right? So he's on his knees. But he says, I mean, he basically can't believe how dumb you are, right? He's like, do you not know how bad things are in the outside world? Do you not know how valuable weapons are? It's like the only thing that matters anymore is guns and bullets if you want to stay alive. So he's a little bit taken aback almost by your country bumpkin naivety as to why he would risk anything for these weapons. Like, from his perspective, they're the only thing that matter anymore.
I reach into my tool belt, grab a pair of vice grips, and put those on his hand.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my. That escalated quickly.
Being like feeling
I go
like
talk to Cyrus about the weather.
obligation of being protector of this island, I'm pretty damn pissed right now.
Why are you pissed, John? Tell me again.
Well, the Doug's character. I mean, being kind of like such a protector of the community and having done the things that I've done, I'm pissed.
Yeah, I can tell you're torturing him. Yeah, I can tell you're pissed. So, all right. So you're torturing him to what? Like, what are you asking him to do? Because he's kind of like doubled over at the moment. And Jenny and Martha, you're not going to get there while this is going on. Like, you're too far off. But what are you guys up to?
We're asking him to turn the radio up so that we can hear the squeals on the way.
Squeal, little piggy, squeal.
I guess that's it.
Tell us the truth. The truth this time.
Oh my
The
goodness.
truth we want to hear. And tell us the truth we don't.
Doug's at a loss at this point. I'm just like the teacher holding him by the ear, except it's by the bloody stump of a hand with a pair of vice grips. So I'm just standing here holding him at this point. I don't even know what to do.
If Martha's on the radio, she will ask Pete to find out if he has any friends, and then we can deal with that accordingly. Pete, can you find out if he's got any friends?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I forgot I was Pete. Yeah, you got any friends?
So let's have you make an intimidation check with a +2.
All right. Benefiting from the torture, I guess.
Yeah. So he again, lots of squealing, right? He doesn't seem to be holding anything back, right? So he says, like, what do you mean friends? Like, there's nobody out there. He said, like, there was all bullshit that I told you about there being an American government. So he's got no, he doesn't seem to be keeping up that pretense anymore. But no, he doesn't. There are no friends.
Not working with anybody?
He says, there's nobody out there to work with. Like, what are you talking about working with someone? No, like, you're
just alone in the world and you're just taking the weapons and that's it.
Yeah, he said, like, I know where people will buy these from me, like these weapons, or
what are they going to pay you with?
Food, other stuff like medicines, like whatever I need. Like there's people that there are black markets that you can go and you can trade this in. But he says, like, what do you think? Like, you think the rest of the world is like an island like this where people are being nice to each other? He said people out there are just killing each other.
And you want to go back to that?
He's got his hand. He says, like, yeah, no one did this to me out there. Like, for the last 2 years, I've managed to get, excuse me, managed to keep my limbs intact. So he doesn't seem to, the look in his eyes doesn't seem to think, you don't get the sense that he feels that you guys are the epitome of civilization.
I'm going to twist the wrench just a little bit and say, what did I tell you about being nice?
More squealing comes from him. So you have him. He's pretty much willing to tell you anything. What are you guys planning on doing with him? And Martha and Jenny, you guys heading back at this time still?
I'm just in shock and I'm following Martha.
Admit it, you're mostly in shock.
We're
of her
missing the show, so we'll shuffle along quicker.
Getting our steps in today, Jenny.
You're mostly just impressed with her for being able to dig that hole, right? Admit it. It was that. That's all it was.
Yes.
So let's presume that you're keeping the radio open for Martha. So what are you guys going to do? Like you've got this guy. He seems to have told you what's going on, but you've now got a man with a stump on his knees on the tarmac. So what are you guys? What is your plan with him?
If he asked me, I'd say I'm not exactly the one in charge here. We're waiting for them to show up. Figure out what to do with you.
Then you're in trouble.
It's corporal punishment for stealing the shovel, isn't it?
Did you say Martha was warming up the hot poker?
Yeah, it's more of a poke him though.
Oh my goodness, you guys are on fire today.
Cyrus, where's the branding iron?
That's not out of the question. He might be too. You want some jet fuel? We'll give him some jet fuel.
Well, we either turn him into a member of society, but he seems pretty rough.
He seems a little rough now.
Or we just make him not a member of society. We give him a dinghy with a hole in it.
Fishing bait.
Yeah.
A lot of chum out of that.
Could always fill the hole with him.
Dug his own grave.
Drag him down there by the vice grips.
Oh God.
I thought I was dark.
Is that an innuendo? By the vice grips.
So I assume you guys make it up here and then we figure this out?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's assume that Martha and Jenny have headed over. You've been listening to his screaming and trying to harmonize with it, you know?
So what are you going to name this one shot again? Horror Island?
Yeah. So I can actually, I feel like recording you as you're doing this. I still have a cassette tape that's got like 90 minutes of my ex-wife just crying on it. It's glorious. I keep meaning to get it like switched over to DVD so I can listen to it in higher quality. All right, so that's going on, right? He's screaming on the Martha and Jenny get there. He's on his knees and he's screaming, and Doug's standing over him, and he's like got some kind of clamp on this bloody stump. So, what are you guys planning on doing with? You gonna? I mean, as you guys come up to him, he looks at Martha because he sensed you're in charge and also covered in mud, and he looks at you and says, "What are you gonna do with me?"
We could reacquaint you with what was buried in the hole.
I just wanted to get my guns. Like, I mean, he's close to tears at this point, right? This has all gone horribly wrong for him, right? He says, I just came here. I just wanted to get those bags, wanted to get them back on this plane, wanted to go. Like, it's still not too late. Just let me go. Like, I won't tell anyone you're here. I'll fly. Like, I'll get back to Sandusky. I'll leave this fucking plane, and you'll never hear from me again.
Okay, answer me this truthfully. Why did you Why did you fly around before, and why did you pull your own gas main? So two different questions. The first time you flew off to somewhere before you came back the next day.
Yeah,
it wasn't just around our island and then come back. He sort of flew by, didn't he?
Yeah, so he did like a flyover, right? So he seems fairly honest, right? He said he was scouting it out, right? So, it'd taken him a while to get there. It found the plane that morning. It got it ready to go, like flown over, yada, yada, yada. So there was nothing really very sinister in his turning up the first day, right? It was just like he flew over, he saw what he needed to see. And he freely admits that he'd kind of like dislodged his gas pipe or his gas hose or fuel pipe or whatever, knowing that the vibrations would kind of cause it to come out, right? So it'd appear like he had a fuel leak, right? So he said calculated risk, but the risk was, making it look like it had a fuel leak, so it'd be more sympathetic to you guys. It wouldn't appear to be, such a risk.
Yeah, that would have worked if you weren't such an asshole.
He kind of holds up his hands and he's like, "I'm the asshole." Like, I mean, look what you've done to me.
I'd be action reaction, dude. You started the fire. I'm putting it out.
So he kind of swallows hard and he looks around and he says, "So now what? What are you going to do with me? You going to let me go?"
Silence. That's always a good sign.
Well, is he much of a threat if we take his weapon away? I mean,
well, yeah, because he's already proved he's distrustful and isn't going to work with the group and has lied at every available point. And now he has medical needs, and we don't have any of that on the island.
He's still an asshole.
I have tinctures.
Yeah.
well, I guess do we got like a rubber raft we can give him and say, "Hey, good luck."
Yeah, but then he comes back with
Rubber
people.
hose.
He's already told us that he knows.
If he comes back, we deserve
get
whatever
the-
he brings.
Yeah.
I guess with the hand that's holding the vice grips, I'm reaching on my tool belt, and I grab a hold of the pistol, and I hold it up and say, "So what's it going to be?" To the group, not to him. What are we doing?
Did we figure out whether he had? He doesn't have any friends, does he? So I guess
No,
this is all blatantly in front of him. But
yeah, of course. He ain't going nowhere.
Yeah. His fucking tool. We can't let him go. He either stays on the island and he helps out. And I'll look at him and say, "Do you want to do that? Or we can let you go."
Wait, tell me again what is this lovely choice that you're offering him?
You can either stay on the island and help out, in which case you'd be doing a lot of work, or we can just let you go. But you're not coming back here.
Ooh, it's a risky decision. I'm afraid he'll come back with reinforcements, but
Just wait for his answer.
He's very okay. He doesn't want to. He doesn't particularly after what you guys have done with him. He doesn't really want to stay here, So, if you guys are willing to let him off the island, then he would take that opportunity and just get out of Dodge.
Okay. I have no intention of letting him go, but if he's not going to be helpful around the island, then Doug.
Yeah, I was going to say,
you can just,
offer that.
inverted commas, let him go.
Well, that's what I was thinking. As soon as you were saying, or let him go, and he said, let him go.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I actually succeeded that. I was not expecting that.
Wait, and what did you done, Doug? What were you doing that role for?
I was going to have a moment where, taking her at face value and then being like, sorry, overruled, and just shoot him in the head, but...
yeah. But that's what I want. So when he says that he's not going to help out around the island and he just wants to go, aka he's all about himself again, I will just look over to Doug and then say, okay, so we have to let him go, and I'll inverted commas with my speech marks with my fingers, let him go, and assume that Doug will pop him.
Oh my goodness, this got dark.
Yeah,
and
well, I don't want to torture him, but it might as well. Yeah, I can't let him go.
That might be the quote. I don't want to torture him, but might as well.
No. No. Don't want to torture him, but we have to put him out of his misery quicker than that. So he's already made it clear that he's not going to be useful
What are
around
you
the
worried
island.
about?
So.
I already clamped off the blood loss.
All right, so
consider the grips.
how are you killing him? I'm sorry.
While they were Doug to just take out his gun and.
It's already out. So while they were in silence, I pulled out a gun and said, "What are we doing?" And then she offered the option. So I'm one way or another. I'm just putting it against his head and ending him.
Yeah. I do worry that quite a lot of episodes just end this way.
I did everything I possibly could to avoid like ending up with like sudden violent death here, but I guess Doug just had it burning in his heart. So Doug, did you say you were executing him?
Oh yeah. No, I mean, if you wanted to avoid this, honestly, you should have had him be less of an asshole at night. He wasn't as believable because of the way you were putting him forward.
Fair comment. So had he been so first of all, let's have you. I guess it doesn't really matter at this point if you're going to execute him. So
yeah.
You don't want your NPCs tortured. Just have them not be assholes.
No, one of the things about games is I think if you put people in an area that they have to protect, then they're never letting anyone leave. I mean, it just doesn't.
Well, especially when they're going to act the way they were. So the big complaint here would be his story at night was fine. That was okay. But because he was being so forward and being so bold to like just calling me a boomer and just naysaying everything I had, well, because he was just being so confrontational as he was being forward with it. Like there was no room. Like you're just being fishy from the get-go. Like you were literally leaving us no option. So it's either. That's why I was talking about sabotaging his plane and letting him crash over the ocean. Was that we either kowtow to him. Or it's a lottery. We were found and now we're screwed. We have no choice.
He was also semi-screwed with this story though, because he kept on telling us how the world was so piss poor outside of the island, at the same time as telling us that he was going to take us off the island and take us to the ship. But it's like, that doesn't sound great.
Or bring people here.
Yeah.
Yep. Wasn't too thrilled on that either.
So as soon as you have an established place, people are going to be uber defensive of it, which means, that always ends with to give him an opportunity not to be an ass at the end. But.
You did kind of chase after him and then shoot him in the hand. So I think his opportunities not to be an ass were getting limited more and more. But I don't disagree. Well, so you execute him and there's the sad smell of sulfur and blood in the area, right? And Cyrus continues to move away from you as the gateway to hell opens up and sucks Doug inside it. So no, the smell of cordite and gunpowder and whatever, and there's Captain Matthews is dead on the tarmac. So you all kind of look at each other. Sorry, you were going to say?
Sorry, I was just going to say I can just imagine the movie poster for it now. Just the four of us standing there with the image of Satan behind us.
Yeah,
and this poor tortured man with one hand and vice grips.
Oh, he's fine.
With the tagline,
and then distemper right across the top.
He was largely innocent.
Radio got to hear all of that.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, well, beautiful.
I love it.
That was awesome. That was not how I expected that to go. I thought it was going to have a more peaceful resolution with him holding all of you fuckers hostage, but instead you blew his hand off and made it miserable for him. Well, thank you all for taking part. This was super fun. I very much enjoyed this. Zero, are you running something for us next week or the week after? What is your plan?
Whichever. Yeah, I can do it next week or the week after, whichever is good with you.
This was it. We got to the end of this supposed one shot split over into two. And so if you're up for picking it up next week, like let's have it. And do you think it's going to be? Is it going to be a one or a two shot?
It all depends on how fast people want to move. Like, if we just want to have fun and be goofy, then it could be probably two. Perfect.
All right. Well, I will plan on having again a little bit more of a straightforward combat ready or combat heavy scenario set up, or like mini campaign set up ready to go in a couple of weeks. And until then, we'll do the body horror with Zero next week. That work?
Sounds fun.
Sounds good.
Sure.
Beautiful. Well, as always, this is super fun. Like, I really love playing with you guys. It's so much fun, and I find that I laugh more in this than pretty much any other session that I play in. So thank you all, and I'll speak to you throughout the week.
Captain Matthews, R.I.P.
Yeah, brutally murdered and tortured.
Well, I'll see you next time, guys.
Good game, guys.
Thank you all.
Don't torture anybody.
Yeah, no torturing.
Thanks, guys.
That was a lot of fun. Thank you all, you sadistic fucks. I'll speak to you all soon.